My name is Sushant. I'm the founder and CEO for Genefitletics. When we talk of microbiome, what exactly is microbiome? Right? It's a composition of various, microorganisms, tiny little bugs living on and inside our body, right from bacteria to fungi to yeast to viruses to protozoa and many more, right? And a larger colonization of these lives in our gut, right? So over last maybe 5 to 7 years, the research on the microbiome, especially gut microbiome space, have picked up, right? Which has found that there's a deeper underrooted connection between the functions and activities of the microbes living in our large intestine and a number of range of chronic diseases and even cancer, right? But in India, right, this trend picked up in the last 2 to 3 years, right? And in a recent research, what was found that scientists found that Alzheimer's, which is again an neurodegenerative disorder found mostly in elderly people, right, is caused by certain microbes living in our gut, even certain microbes living in our mouth. Right. Besides, there are a number of connections between onset and progression of diabetes, obesity, stress, anxiety, depression with the gut microbial dysbiosis. In the next 5 years, the market should grow up to 30 billion US dollars, right? That's the size because of prevalence of a lot of chronic disease and cancer. In India, the market is picking up, so I think next 5 to 7 years it should be around 12 to 15 billion US dollars, right? That's a typical market. And if you see the market, right, initially it was mostly testing was done for clinical trials or for some sort of research work at educational universities or some hospitals, right? But now there was as such no pure play, direct to customer microbiome companies. But now some of them have started coming up again. There's a difference in the technologies they use. So 90% of them, they still work on the microbial DNA part, right? So they just find out, okay, which bacteria are there, right? And they don't decode what they are doing, what they are producing, what are their functions, what is their behavior, what is their activities, right? And here lies the biggest gap, because two different people may have type 2 diabetes, would have different organisms, but would their microbes be producing same metabolite, same molecule which is causing type 2 diabetes. So the focus has to be on the functions, which is lacking in India right now. So for instance, if someone has an FTO gene, which is genes for obesity, right, it doesn't mean the person will become obese. If that genes is overexpressed, is what people makes gain weight, and this overexpression or underexpression of genes is caused by functions of the microbiome, and that's where the solutions, microbiome solutions, comes into picture. So the focus is not on the microbiome test, which is actually prevalent in the market right now. The focus has to be on the entire solution. So what I mean by solution is, the testing is just a way of collecting, millions of biological data sets inside your body, right? What you do with the data, how you interpret the data, and how you use the data to convert into meaningful interventions is what matters, right? So you should not see microbiome is just a lone test, but what is being interpreted, what technology is being used, what machine learning models are used, that is going to actually even help doctors bring more precision and accuracy in their treatment and diagnosis. So as far as Genefitletics is concerned, right, it started with my personal sufferings. My mother had been type 2 diabetic for last 30 years. She has been spending a lot of money on getting her tests done, getting insulin, getting medicines, fat diets, a lot of these things, and there was no definite outcome. And then another disaster happened when my father was diagnosed with colon cancer stage 4, right? And what I found that current healthcare model as we see today is best to feed chemicals and medicines to just suppress the symptoms or to just manage the diseases, but not cure. And then what I found that there was a huge gap in in the how healthcare system operates. They never decoded the functions of the microbiome and the role of microbiome in the systemic inflammation and disease development. This is what I set out to uncover. So Genefitletics is here to make the invisible world visible, right? So we have developed India's first microbiome therapeutics platform, right, which measures, you know, your chemistry and biology at a molecular level, and then use machine learning to determine, you know, whether you're going to develop a disease or not, and how quickly, right. We can in fact predict your disease, right, just by looking at your molecular signatures, and then provide you disease, you know, modifying interventions to cure them, right. So our solution is entirely database. There is no nutritionist, no coach, no doctors here, right. So we generally collect your data, analyze your data through our inbuilt, you know, machine learning algorithms, and then we give you the right set of interventions. Journey starts with your biological sample. For the gut microbiome solution, what we have, we take your stool sample. For the oral microbiome solution, we take your, you know, saliva sample. For the vaginal microbiome sample, solution, we take your, you know, your vaginal swab, right. So this sample is sequenced through a next generation sequencing technology, right, which gives the, you know, your biological data set in a you know, very jumbled up form, which you and me as a layman cannot read, right. So this goes through an in-house bioinformatics algorithm, which converts this jumbled up data into, you know, microbial taxonomy and functional data, right. Here is the first step, right. Second step is, here comes the main part. So our human biology model, you know, built by our machine learning solutions, right. These solutions, this model mines the, you know, microbial data, and then converts into, you know, pre-symptomatic molecular signature, which tells, you know, or predicts whether you're going to develop a disease or not, right. Or even if you have a disease, what specific molecules, pro-inflammatory molecules are causing that disease, and then we give, you know, therapeutics and nutrition solutions to actually suppress that molecule or metabolite which is causing that disease. So what we are launching in next 2 months is, you know, in revolutionary thing where, based on our microbiome solution, we will be determining what specific nutrient gaps you have in what quantity, and then we'll be making all the supplements make to order based on your microbiome solution, which will be delivered after your microbiome results are, you know, out. So these will not be available OTC, and customers have an option to buy a subscription for these products, which will be in a very precise dosage.